Yeah, we'll talk about it after, but
Okay. Well,
and
maybe.
it's starting to happen. Have you noticed that? Like people are kind of it's like it'll change though next Monday. It's gonna break for folks to stop that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Please feel free to put your questions in caps because we are glad to answer them. I love you both. Okay, it's not in caps, but we'll take that.
Yes, thank you, Arlene. We love you. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, Robin says that Dave's did cut out. Okay. Well, I guess Spirit said enough of that, man.
Yeah, no more fighting. Right. Well,
You guys.
right.
Oh.
So, anyway, we're live again. What else do you guys want to know?
Am I a tease, spiritual Sean?
Uh, the conversation continues. Right on. So, yeah, there are just so many great ways to do this work. So I hope everybody just keep looking at people. Just keep looking at people. I see people sometimes with like 5 views and they do the most incredible stuff. And I just often just go to these as just remarkable people do remarkable stuff all the time. They may not even be famous. So we're looking, Brian, for any spiritual subject. But we're this channel is not so much about politics. We're looking for the spirit stuff, and there's so many great people doing so much work that you need not settle on one person or one set of people. They will totally outside our field. You will find great subjects, great topics, great things that I know nothing about, and that is super super valuable. One thing I always tell people is don't follow a guru. You should be your own guru, right? And you will take from different religions, different practices, and put it together, right? Brave girl, spiritual questions. Spiritual questions. You know, it's so easy when it's politics. There's so many things that are happening right now.
Oh, okay. This is spiny oyster. They call it spiny oyster turquoise, Susan. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Isn't that beautiful? So you see that a lot worn with turquoise. So when I went out to Chaco Canyon, the Native Americans, it's a real gathering place for Native Americans. It's a spirit. It was always a spiritual uh, pilgrimage that they would make to this one area here in New Mexico. They're still finding chocolate feathers, spiny oyster. So this
Mhm.
comes from South America, but you will see it a lot worn together up here. You see that in our Native American cultures, these two. But that's what that is. It's a spiny oyster, Susan. Thanks for asking, sweetie.
I've got a question for you because it's on my mind. How do you work? How do you work through thorny stuff? I mean, just like me, I know you have like those experiences of just encountering unpleasant things.
I think our equipment is. Can you say that again? How do horny stuff? What did you say?
Yeah,
Horny.
no, thorny man, thorny. This is not that kind of show.
It's like, damn. We're gonna have to okay, so how do I work through thorny stuff?
In this work, it's not all happy clappy. It's not all rainbows and pandas. Sometimes you do get to this really heavy, dark material. How do you work through that?
Well, for me, what works is Ho'oponopono. It's a whole practice. It's a Hawaiian practice. It dates back to our Lemurian roots, beyond Pleiades, actually. Um, but we can talk more about that. It's what basically it's learning what energy is attached to emotions, and that's what works for me. Seems to make sense for my soul. That
Mhm.
right, doing this work is like, um, it means so much now because it is on a spiritual level. It has more meaning. It's different now to go to work every day and love helping people, love getting answers or helping find an answer or doing the healings and moving energy. It's awesome. It's so much different than what I used to do when you show up at work and people say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And you say, "Fine," but you're dying inside. It's like, no, now my inner matches my outer.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, so what do you do when you're focusing on always that inner and then shit happens on the outer? That's the rub, and has been the rub for me through through this time. We talked about it, Dave. So how do I do it? I transmute it. I look at, there's exercises that I do where I do A, B, C, D, E, and then I get to a place where I learn what the energy is teaching me about me. What is the energy teaching me about my relationship with Source or the God Force or God? Right? And then I transmute the energy. It was one thing to go to work as a sommelier and we're all doing our thing and, how are you doing? And oh, fine. And you just stuff it down. But today, it's very different. I don't live like that. But,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's a better life, but it doesn't mean that I don't still run into hiccups.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So transmuting energy, for me, that's what works. That's what makes sense to me in my brain and my soul.
Mm-hmm. Ritual helps for me. It really helps to do shamanic practices and be with the spirit and ask and go on journeys and get our answers. Ritual sort of makes things clearer and makes what I'm going through clearer. I noticed one comment here from Spiritual Sean as I'm sick of my ego. And I really want to address that because I want people to know that,
what did she say?
It looks like Spiritual Sean who's saying, I'm sick of my ego.
Oh.
Spiritual Sean, I want to just point out that, everybody has an ego. There's nothing wrong with that. And one thing that we got to learn when we're doing this, and I'm learning this so much the hard way, is you don't just forget about the ego. If you just give up your ego and you're always helping others, that's the sort of, story that we've been told that you're supposed to be a saint here. It won't work. Eventually you'll find yourself very, very empty. And I've done this, I've made this mistake before. And then I need 3 weeks off to recover because I've given up all my energy. It has to be in balance. Jen and I would love to do this for free. If we live in another culture, you would just give us a chicken and a bed and we would be fine. But now we have to pay the rent. We have to charge you something. Yeah. So I really make it a point not to overcharge, and I really make it a point to have some things available for free because some people just, they don't have the money and stuff. But there has to be a balance. I'll tell you, I used to be an English teacher. I was in the Peace Corps. I was in Hungary, and I had a free class. Eventually, people stopped coming because if it's free, they're like, "Oh, I can go next week," and they stop showing up.
Right, because it's energy.
Yeah.
Equal energy exchange. When if I don't honor my worth, I lose my ability. Things get all smushy.
Right. Make friends with your ego, guys. Negotiate. Say, well, I'm going to give you this. You can have an ice cream cone. But also, we're going to do this. Only after you do this amount of, after you go to the gym, you can have the ice cream. There's a balance here. And part of it is your inner child needs to be taken care of. You need to be a little selfish. Sometimes I just, I go in my room and pout for an hour. I do that too. It's not like we reach some perfect plane of mysticism. I think that it is more give and take. We have to be willing to accept our mistakes and realize, hey, I got a little angry about that and I need to say sorry. There's a relationship too. And your ego also needs to be stroked. I sometimes have to write a note to myself about what I did well today, because I can be really, really critical. And that's another thing I learned in the Peace Corps. After every single class, the first thing I'd say, what'd you do right? Before I wrote, what did you do wrong? And I eventually changed that to what did I do? What did I do? That could use improvement, not wrong. So don't criticize yourself because you're not perfect. There's no one on this planet who is perfect. I mean, like maybe Gandhi got close, but people who are Indian are a little bit critical of him. He was pretty cold to his wife, so he's not perfect, right? No one is perfect. He probably had some things to learn, and so you don't have to be perfect in this world. No one is that way,
right? Yeah. So, Spirit Detective, yes, it is possible for a soul to channel a message. I do it all the time in my political shows on Saturday afternoon at 3:00. I'm always, when I am doing the readings, I am in that person I am channeling. When I'm cooking, I love to cook, and I used to work in the wine and food industry. And so for me, I cook. It's a form of meditation and relaxation and happiness. And a lot of times, crossed over chefs come through, but also chefs that are still alive come through and give me tips. Because our dimensions, we live in many dimensions at one time, and we are experiencing, even though we look like this here and now, we are in many dimensions, several dimensions at one time. So that's how a multi-dimensional channeler works, is they are tapping into those dimensional pieces of a whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So absolutely, Spirit Detective. And you do it. Like when you, we go out in the world and sometimes we meet someone and you're just like, oh my God, I just love her. She is so cool. I know we would be best friends, right? It happens to me on the airplane all the time. I meet the coolest people sitting next to me on the airplane. But then you have those times where you are like, oh God, I just don't trust that guy. You'll meet somebody, you just won't trust them. And it's because your higher self is picking up on their higher self, or synonym, your dimensional self is picking up on their dimensional self.
Right.
So absolutely. And folks are really good at this. There is a group that is very good at folks that channel the multidimensional channeling. It's kind of loosely called, but yes, very, very much. Psychics. I know. I thought about doing that. Like Dave has his. I think it would be so cool, like to cook it out,
I was going to make this dinner for you, but you really need this dinner, That's cholesterol, Dave.
All right. So there's a bunch of questions.
Great.
We're at an hour. Should we save these questions for next time?
For a couple of them, I have a little bit of time.
Okay. All right, you guys. So will you two come back to celebrate on Monday? Well, we'll see. You never know, Carol. We may do that. All right. So, okay, let's see. Oh, they're all so good.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's Rebel Girl again. How do I keep myself grounded and calm when I am not actively meditating?
Ooh, wow. I bet you're better at this than I am.
Oh, I do stay pretty calm now, because Rebel Girl, I do the ritual of the 6 calls. So I do that every morning and I do it every night. And I think this is just my opinion, my perspective, that to live a spiritual life, to decide that we can decide which way we want to go with our spiritual work or our spirit, that it's very adult and very grown up to say, I want to tap into 100% divine light, and to make a concerted effort to do that every day. It doesn't mean that you need to take 20 minutes or even 5 minutes. You can do it in like 2 minutes, something that's ritual, like the 6 calls. So that's what I do. I found that once I've started to do that, to incorporate that kind of grounding into my life, it just naturally happens that I become more grounded. I've had folks report, kind of give the challenge of, well, do this for 7 days, 14 days, and let me know how you feel. And folks report that they feel more grounded, more peaceful, like they're just more content and happier. So when you pay attention to spirit or to lining yourself up with your spirit guides every day, then they go to work on it. You send it out and they go to work on it. It's like access consciousness awareness, that our subconscious is its own consciousness. And that's where our spirit guides reside. So if you do something like that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a meditation. I have ADD. I cannot meditate. I start ruminating on the grocery list or what I need to do here in the shop, or, oh my God, I got to go mow those leaves off the driveway. I mean, I can't do that. So I found that the in-between place of rogation, it's where you do something over and over with repetition, but it's quick and it's repetitive. So it kind of has a beat, and it's good for people with ADD.
Great.
That's what I do to ground myself.
Excellent. And you do better than me, because I'm not that far along. I would say though that one thing people aren't talking about is internet addiction, and how we're all just, I am the last person to criticize doom scrolling these things, and it's just, you just get in the state of, Karens, and it's just like, I don't like to watch that stuff, but I find myself like, wow, Karens, and it's just like, I'm on this train. And we have to all, and again, I'm not above this at all, just notice where is this taking me? Why am I just wanting to kill the person in the video, right? Or just seen for 1 minute. I don't know who they are. And just notice like what's amping you up, and can you stop it? Also, just monitor to some degree how you're feeling, and then take some kind of action. Also say music really helps me. If I'm nervous at all, I'll go to YouTube. I'll listen to Gregorian chants, listen to Malon.
Yeah. Repetition, frequency. Yeah.
Yeah, it just calms my heart.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. One more?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it's early for you. See, I've been up for 15 hours. I did 3 readings and 1 healing today, so it's like 6:45 my time. Okay, let's see. Brian Beecher's got a good one, but I think we should address that next week. Okay, so are you into meditation? Do you want to answer?
Sure.
Okay. Cheryl asks, I have terrible monkey mind. How do I meditate easier?
So you are not alone. Everybody has monkey mind. All right. So that's the first thing. Every single person. Buddha sat down with a monkey mind. Okay. He just vowed that he would spend 20 years in the forest to figure it out. You don't need to do that. But first of all, accept that you have a monkey mind. There's nothing wrong with you. You do. And as you're just sitting there, just notice, I think a lot about that. I think a lot about that. Really, in the beginning of meditation, all you're doing is noticing that you have a monkey mind. So you're doing a great job if you figure that out. You're well on your way. I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And when you're in that space, just go, wow, my third grade teacher was really mean. First time I meditated, I was like, God, I am like 22 and I spend like 10, 20 minutes a day thinking about those nasty things that she did to me. And I still think about it and I'm still like mad. And it's like, Dave, why are you spending your time thinking about something? Oh, well, it's still, and it reminds me of this situation today where somebody was mean to me. It's the same feeling. You're just recognizing what's going on. You're recognizing those feelings and saying, great, we'll talk about that later. And just being like kind of conscious, like put a pin in it. Yeah, that's really important, ego mind. Let's talk about that. But right now, for now, let's see if we can just get to some silence. And it helps if you just, try to pay attention to your breath. But, there'll be years of the monkey mind stuff. It's not a bad thing. Your monkey mind's just trying to get you to notice. Things you're not really noticing or thinking about are unconsciously controlling you. Somebody does something that really makes you angry. It's not necessarily that person. It's that thing that happened to you, when you're 5. It really is. And those need to be addressed. So let me tell you, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was meditating for years and years and years. And it wasn't until the Peace Corps, and I was about 30. I'd probably been doing it on and off for 15 years, where I was meditating, where I really felt a departure. I really felt just that sort of transcendental moment where I was connecting to the universe. Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was such a beautiful second that I was like, I want to do this again. And then it probably took me 3 months before I could get it again for 2 seconds. Don't be too tough on yourself. Meditate to meditate. Meditate with the goal of doing something, but also meditate to be aware of yourself. You are part of the universe. It's very important to notice what things are motivating you and upsetting you. Mm-hmm. But you can, during the session, just go, I promise to think about you, but not right now. That it really help.
Yeah, beautiful. So Lori is a super fan of yours, David.
She is. I love Lori. She's really swell.
She's read for you. Her dog, good.
Yeah, it was great. It was accurate. I think this is the same thing for you, Jen. I don't remember the readings most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spirit protects us because if we were carrying all that information of everybody's life, it would just drive us crazy. But of course I remember Lori. She's Lori. She's just a swell person. She's very engaged. And I do remember her dog. Her dog's named Deucey. So I do remember a couple of things. But thank you for saying that. Trust me, if you're doing this work, we have our doubts. It's not like we reach some state of enlightenment and now we know what we're doing. Now, we also get to the end of the day and go, God, what is a little off there? Or I've done readings and put them out there and been like, oh God, I really hope I'm accurate. And your accuracy is not 100%, or my interpretation isn't right, or stuff like that. All people have doubts. I would just ask, like Lori, just when you're watching a person in your heart, you feel that they are sincere. You feel that they're not there to take advantage. I would say with the readers that I know, they're all in earnest. They're not perfect, but I really do feel like people are here to help. They're here for the community. They're not just here for the hits. I wouldn't say that about all communities at all on YouTube, but our particular community, people may, maybe we make errors, but I do believe that all the people I've met are pretty sincere.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right, Arlene, what does Spirit want us to know? I've got a hit here. because Rosie is back about kind of the Sasquatch thing.
Right.
So let me see if I can. Is that all right? You
Sure.
okay. All right. All right. So yeah, this has to do with connecting with Sasquatch energy, you guys. Your intentions must be clear and non aggressive, that you come with an open heart. Communicate your appreciation for the intention. She's showing me now, she's showing her arms to love, that you appreciate without a preconceived notion, without trying to control, without trying to get something from. We are so caught up in our humanity in trying to get, what can I get, right? I mean, even here, like, what can I get from you? What information do you have? She's showing me that it's all just come with love, come and bathe in love. Yeah. Don't try to detract from how you really feel. Don't try to, she's showing me to, what's the word? It's don't try to hide. Don't try to put up a screen. She's showing me, show all of who you are. You can't hide from who you are. They read your integrity. So if you want to start to feel that kind of loving energy, it's a new step up, it's a new vibe, it's a new place, it's a new space. It starts here, and it starts within you. Once you make that contact, if you are out in a place that's remote, where the energy is, where they are, you will feel them and you can access that energy. I mean, I did it in Seattle when I was in my apartment. You can access that healing energy, you guys. So that's what she wanted. She was like right here and wanted me to say. And
That's a terrific message. Yeah. Great.
all right, guys. Well, Dave, I love you dearly. You are the coolest. Everybody loves you. This was so cool.
It's always great to have these conversations. I just love talking about this. And I know you could talk about it all day, and so could I. But we can't just be on YouTube all day.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we will see you next Thursday. We'll be here. I don't know. What time is it, right? Is it an hour different now?
Yes, it's 10:30 a.m. now. So, but I'm happy to start at the regular time.
Are you? Okay. So it'll be different for you. Okay, but 5:30 still Mountain Time. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you then. Okay.